Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance to Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Haikyuu. Episode 4.
Yes.
The view from the summit.
That's right.
The summit of what?
The summit of a mountain, possibly?
Yes, or the summit of a wall.
Yeah.
Thanks Hinata can...
I see.
See what I did there? So this current wall that they have to jump over is a very tall, bleached blonde-haired guy named Suki.
Suki, yeah.
And his friend with a very long name, which I forget, but it is okay.
Right. Now, okay, is it just me? Or whenever you hear his name, do you think of Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Kind of,
like,
but it started with a T instead of an S.
I know, but it, like, yeah.
Yeah, I actually looked it up, and his name means moon, not
love.
Yeah,
that's right, because there was that
T makes
whole
it
thing.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's interesting. It's interesting. The character of Suki seemed initially kind of a bully, but now I'm like, wait, maybe he's kind of more of a troll. Like he's kind of the character that just, likes to poke.
Do you think
people's
right
soft spots?
Do you think maybe he has a bit of that personality because he's such a big guy? Like no one really tends to like mess with him in particular, and he feels kind of like there maybe is like a sense of security in himself, so that then when he sees stuff in other people, he'll feel safe like prodding it a bit.
I think generally people that make fun of other people's insecurities are insecure people, so
that is a great point.
That might be something we could bring up, but this is more just kind of, I would say, competitive fun because they're about to play a practice game together, essentially a scrimmage.
Yes,
but to Kageyama in particular, the stakes are high,
very high, almost as high as Suki.
Yeah.
Now, do you think we're going to be getting that game this episode, or like
I think we will be getting it this episode.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's been enough time practicing. They've brought in all the characters necessary.
That's true.
And having an actual good volleyball match right about now, I'd say fits pacing wise.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this episode and see what happens. Kageyama. Oh. His team. When he played in the tournament, they abandoned him. Whoa, is this literally what happened?
Yeah.
Or is this actually like what? Like, is it theoretical?
Oh, I think that's absolutely what happened, and he's been beating himself up for it for a very long time.
Yeah. Whoa. Why not Suga?
Wow. I love how his ear just popped out like that. Oh, he's a total troll.
Yeah. Tsukishima is his full name.
Gotcha.
Tanaka.
He's trying to get him riled up.
Right. Here we go. It's the game. Oh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Nice. Oh. Clearly
he's just
blocked.
so tall.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Yep.
Very high wall. Wow.
30 centimeters. That's a foot, dude. Shut up.
Yeah.
He does not need to be that much taller.
ほらほらブロックにかかりっぱなしだよ 王様のトスやればいいじゃん。敵を置き去りにするトス。ついでに味方も置き去りにしちゃうやつね。
Wow, dude.
ほら王様、そろそろ本気出した方がいいんじゃない？
あ？なんだお前、この間から突っかかりやがって。
Right, seriously.
なんだ？
君、こいつがなんで王様って呼ばれてるか知らないの？
こいつがなんかすげえうまいから他の学校のやつらがビビってそう呼んだとかじゃないの？
そう思ってるやつも結構いると思うけどね。でも噂じゃコート上の王様って異名、北川第一のやつらがつけたらしいじゃん。王様のチームメイトがさ。
Yeah.
意味は自己中の王様、
Right.
横暴な独裁者。噂だけは聞いたことがあったけど、あの試合を見て納得いった。横暴が行き過ぎてあの決勝ベンチに下げられてた。
Wow.
ブロックが高い。なんとかして振り切らないと。もっと速い攻撃でブロックがついてこられなくなるくらい。もっと早く。違う、俺は全国へ行く。
No, your team is going to
Exactly,
nationals.
yep.
Yeah.
動け、もっと高く飛べ。俺のトスに合わせろ。勝ちたいなら。
Oh. Dude.
相手のセットポイント、トスを上げた先。
Jeez.
そこに誰もいなかった。
Yeah, I called it.
コンビミスは何度かあった。でも最後のあれはミスじゃな
Oh
い。
yeah.
あれは拒絶だ。もうお前にはついていかないと。あいつらが俺に言った一球だった。
影山、お前もうベンチ下がれ。
Right.
俺にはちゃんとトス上がるから別に関係ない。
Yeah.
それよりどうやってお前をぶち抜くかだけが問題だ。月島に勝ってちゃんと部活入ってお前は正々堂々セッターやる。そんで俺にトスあげる。
That's right.
あんのか影山。
Nice.
Wow.
そこに誰も。
Nice. Woo! Yes.
Oh.
中学のことなんか知らねえ。俺にとっては
Yeah.
どんなトスだってありがたいトスなんだ。俺はどこにだって飛ぶ。どんなボールだって打つ。だから俺にトス持ってこい。
クイック使えんのか？
クイック。
今みたいな速い攻撃。
Where you're jumping before the toss is even set.
ポーンって山なりに上がるトスしか打ったことないです。
でも今やっとる。
He's making it though.
合わせたこともないのに速攻なんて無理だろ。
今無理って言った。こいつ無理って単語知ってんのか。なんだお前変。そんな弱気なの気持ち悪い。変。
Oh, weakness. Calling him out.
王様らしくないんじゃない？
Now he's on Hinata's side, kind of.
君、明らかにスパイカーに向いてないでしょ。
Oh no, you didn't.
中学の時も今も俺飛んでも飛んでもブロックに止められてばっかだ。この体で戦って勝ってもっといっぱいコートにいたい。
Where did you battle with this body?
Uh-huh.
His fight is only against himself and his own body and physical
That's right.
capabilities.
嫌だ。
俺はまだ
コートに立っていたい。
スパイカーの前の壁を切り開く。そのためのセッターだ。
なんだよ影山。
They're gonna
Strategize.
secret strategy, yeah.
落ち着け影山。
何す
いいか、打てないならかわすぞ。お前のありったけの運動能力と反射神経で俺のトスを打て。
はあ？それ速攻の説明かよ。
わかった。
He's motivated.
Yeah.
やんよ。
日向には技術も経験もない。
菅原さん。
中学でお前にギリギリ合わせてくれた優秀なプレイヤーとは違う。でも素材はピカイチ。
そんな天才とか大げさです。
言ってねえよ。なんつうかもっと日向の持ち味っていうか
Oh yeah.
才能っていうかそういうのをもっと
Right.
こう ナイスガさんファイトなんかうまいこと使ってやれんじゃないの。それならお前の能力俺が全部使ってみせる。
So the other team won't be able to predict it.
Right.
お前の一番のスピード一番のジャンプで飛べ。ボールは俺が持っていく。
But I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell
Right,
you what it
exactly.
means. Yeah.
お前
Yeah.
はただブロックのいないところ
And then he'll make sure the ball gets to Hinata.
Right.
そんで全力スイングだ。俺のトスは見なくていい。ボールには合わせなくていい。今この位置このタイミングこの角度で
Wow. Oh yeah. That was amazing.
手に当たった。
大げさだな。
He's so over the top.
今ひなた目をつぶってた。
What? What?
ジャンプする瞬間からスイングするまでの間ひなたは目をつぶってた。
Whoa.
Wow.
ボールを全く見ていないひなたの手の
Wow.
With a little targeting reticle. And
Yep,
stuff.
yep.
スイングの瞬間に合わせて寸分の狂いもなく
What?
今の何当たったんだけど手に今俺のなあ。
おいお前目つぶってたってなんだ。
お前がボール見るなって言ったんだろ。目を開けてるとどうしてもボールに目が行く。
Just score.
確かに言ったけど
でも今の成功だろ。何が悪い。
それは
Whoa.
そうだけど俺のこと信じるなんてできるか普通。
He
だって
does.
今信じる以外の方法わかんねえもん。
Wow.
おい任せろ。ナイスレシーブ。
どうせまたチビにあげて失敗だろ。田中さんだけマークしとけば。
お前もかい。壁いいか打ち抜けないなら
かわす。
Oh!
長身の選手より高さで踊るなら
You just be faster.
Yeah.
1ミリを1秒早く。てっぺん。そうすれば今この瞬間だけここが一番高い場所。これが
Wow. He did it.
頂の景色。
Oh, that's cool.
Jeez. Yatta! Oh. Oh, that was fantastic.
That was awesome.
That just felt
Like-
good to watch.
Oh, it did. It did.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the things I just want to point out, like, they made it so that we didn't actually see the end of the game.
Yeah.
And
That's a
I
good
thought
point.
that was awesome because they're basically saying the actual match is not as important
Right.
as the lessons they're learning.
Right. As they're learning to come together as a team, the actual end result of what gets put up on the board for something like this really isn't important.
Right.
And even to someone like Kageyama, who really wants to be a setter, who might even prove that he's the best setter for their team here, unless they can really see beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's moved beyond being the egocentric king, and it doesn't matter even if
Exactly.
he wins. Because Daichi could still just say,
No.
yeah, I get it, you won, but I don't really trust you.
Right.
In order to basically be a good setter in that regard.
Right.
And that was one of the things that I thought was really interesting. They're saying, like, no one can trust someone 100%. But Hinata was willing to trust someone who was the egocentric king.
Yep.
Maybe because of a little bit of his false perceptions of him, but also because
Sure.
of what he knows needs to be done. And I
Right.
think that might have inspired Daichi a little bit.
Sure.
And maybe even some of the other players, that they can trust these two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they're willing to trust each other.
Right.
And that's just good stuff.
It is.
That's just good bonding. It's not power of friendship or any random stuff like that. It's actual decisions made by the characters
Yes.
individually
Right.
that gives a reason for this whole bit to actually
Right.
work out and happen.
Yeah, because, like, okay, think about the power of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
It's this cool idea and stuff, but it's often done as kind of like a shtick, and it ends up falling flat because there's there ends up not really being much substance to it. And the fact that they're actually showing them going through their struggles, learning these different things, learning to trust each other and do all this stuff, it's kind of one of those things where it is sort of the power of friendship, but it's not just the power of friendship. They're actually becoming friends.
Right. They're actually becoming friends, and we're seeing that process work through because they actually have skill.
Yes.
One of the things that I'm a little bit tired of in other kind of stories is where the main character gets through this because they're chosen.
Sure.
Gets kind of become the main character because they're chosen, not because of the hard work that
Right.
they put into
Yes.
it. And Hinata is one of those characters that is the underdog.
Yeah.
He, like you said, has every reason to be considered a not so prime volleyball player because he's as
very
Suki put it,
short.
30 centimeters too short, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous. He is short by
Quite
a
short.
large,
Yeah.
by a decent stretch of the word. I would put him at around 5'5" to 5'6".
Yeah, I think they actually showed their height at one point, and I think he was like 5'2".
Really?
Yeah. Like, he was really short.
Oh, that's really short.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
then
and
maybe
then
he's
it-
actually right about the 30 centimeters thing.
Right.
Because one of the things I know through playing Ultimate Frisbee and stuff is if you are a receiver, they don't really throw to you if you're, like, underneath 5'8" or so.
And certainly not if you have someone a foot taller than you guarding you.
Also, in particular, one of the things is they won't throw to the deep end receivers as often, like, unless you're really can jump or something like that. They just want to see verticality. And if Hinata's willing to jump, or not willing, if he's able to jump to compensate for the fact that he is 5'2",
Right, or
that's
however tall he
insane.
is.
Because if you think about the actual physicality required to
yeah.
send your body in propulsion, away from the earth and stuff like that, it's crazy. You have to have almost perfect muscle fat composition and everything else, and your bone size.
Right.
That's insane, because jumpers who can actually make jumps of that size and stuff,
And they are out there.
They are out there. This is an anime, so there's a little bit of stretch of realism and stuff, but Hinata is like Olympic level jumper if he's 5'2" and he's making jumps like that. He's pretty dang good. And I like that they make it so that he is really good at those things, but he's a complete raw instrument. He has no experience, no tactical awareness.
Right, because he's just been going off the love of the game so far. Yeah, and I like that.
And his receiving also is not that good either.
Right, and I loved that even though he can make these crazy jumps, he still can't beat someone as tall as Suki unless he outmaneuvers them. Because and that adds some great realism to it, because if you think about it, if Suki is, a foot taller than him or whatever it is, that's a bit of a disadvantage.
Oh, it's a huge disadvantage. All Suki has to do is just jump up, put his hands there, and it's done.
Yep.
And that's a thing where also you can show that your other characters are actually skilled players. You don't have the main character thing where their skill becomes something that's, Everett's so incredible, and everyone else is just onlookers.
Bows down.
Yes, to their amazingness.
Right.
But I liked that each character from the main team as a whole came up and kind of said their little piece. And Daichi kept shutting down Tanaka as he tried to kind of be the protector and defend them.
Yeah.
Because Daichi knew this stuff needed to happen.
Exactly.
And it wasn't going to happen unless he let it.
And that's really cool, because a lot of times you don't get to see leaders just in general, but especially in stories, that are more of the quiet type, but still very much strong leaders. A lot of times when people try to make the more silent, quiet, stoic leaders, they end up not being much of a leader.
I would say that's maybe from experience, Jacob, but I've seen quite a lot of quiet leaders who I'd say are better leaders.
I'm not talking about in real life. I'm talking about
real life and in.
Oh, okay. I was just talking about in stories for that.
Yeah, I would say it's easier to write a brash Theoden type character who just kind of yells and is, the battle commander on the field whose voice is like half of the reason why they're a good strategist.
Which is why I really appreciate the fact that they're doing this with Daichi, because it again feels a lot more realistic, and it's way more inviting.
It is inviting. I would say that Daichi's team respects the fact that he will shift into scary mode if he needs to.
Right, and he can.
But he doesn't need to,
No.
90% of the time.
Nope.
He's going to sit there and he's going to say the things that need to be said as a coach, but he's also, or as a captain, but he's also going to let things happen that he thinks need to. He's kind of, in a way, managing the players rather than actually coaching them, which I think is very cool, because one of the things that's very common, I would say, for people who are in positions of leadership, there's too much eagerness to give your own opinion.
Right.
And
that's kind of what Kageyama is doing.
It's kind of what Kageyama is doing, yeah, and that's the reason why he became known as the egocentric king of the court.
Right.
And Tanaka is kind of doing the same thing in that regard, in that he's like, I gotta give my opinion and protect them, and he has good intentions.
Right.
But Daichi knows, no, don't let this go. Actually, I think there was a Simon Sinek talk. He was talking about leaders in particular who are way too eager to give their own opinions, and then basically go around and say, like, all right, this is my opinion. Now, what do you all think about it? And it's like, oh, yeah, you're not going to get an unbiased opinion because they don't want to say something that contradicts yours. Right. So, all that about leadership. I love the dynamic of the team thus far.
Oh, yes.
I like how they're already foreshadowing how games are going to be won with certain synergistic moves and stuff.
Yes.
I liked the bits where they showed the targeting reticle by Kageyama deciding exactly where to put it.
It was the right amount of, like, comedy mixed in with, like, immersion for the story, because he is supposed to be... Oh, it was epic. Because, like, he is this, very talented person, even if he did have the ego problems and stuff.
Right.
So the fact that, like, he's finally like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna use the fullest extent of my abilities to make sure that he uses the fullest extent of his. Like, it was so awesome.
And then they capped it all off with Hinata not even having his eyes open.
Oh, that was amazing.
Perfect.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of The Sandlot, when he's like the main kid is like really intimidated by baseball. And he's like, no, if you want to play baseball, you just have to hold the mitt up, and that's how you catch a ball. And he's like, really? And they're like, no, he can't play baseball. He doesn't know what he's doing. So then the dude who ends up, you end up finding out that he ends up being like a Major League Baseball player or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He like throws up the ball or like he hits the pitch and he's all like aiming it just perfectly. And he's just like, the kid's just standing there with his mitt straight up and it goes right into the mitt. And
yeah, I kind of remember that. I have very loose memories of the Sandlot movie. Are you talking about the first one, right?
Yeah, I've never seen the second one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that Suki started to calm down a little bit.
Yes.
But if anything, this episode he was in bigger swing than ever.
Right.
Than the previous one. He was really letting loose into Kageyama. Maybe he was, if anything, he'd heard about Kageyama and he's like, I want to beat this egotistical guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I get him on my team. Wonderful.
Great. Yeah.
And now he's like, well, I'm going to try and discourage this guy from even playing or something like that. And now he's realizing, well, looks like I'm stuck with him.
What if
maybe that'll come up later? I think that would be cool.
What if it was also something where he's like hyper competitive? So he's just like, oh, I'm gonna play this guy. I want to make sure that I beat him, so that so that his ego doesn't go anywhere, right?
Sure.
And so because of that, he's using every weapon in his arsenal, including, trolling him.
So this is him trying to beat Kageyama?
Yes, basically just get every advantage.
I think that's a bit too short-sighted.
Okay.
It's saying that basically he thinks this game matters a lot when clearly every single thing he said previously, he doesn't care about this game really.
Okay, good point. Yes, that is a great point.
Yeah. But Suga's bit that he said to his little vulnerable bit to Kageyama was really cool because imagine you're a third year, okay? So you're 17.
Right.
And this hot-shot 15-year-old superstar comes onto the field and you're like, this guy is better than me.
Right.
This guy is actually, just in the strictest objective definition, and he's better than me. The only thing I have on him is a little bit of experience, but that's not enough to cover all the other things where he just beats me if you lined us both up together. And that's humbling. And I like that Suga was the one to say that because I think that's consistent with his character and that he's non-confrontational.
Right.
He's not the kind of person that really is super competitive in the aggressive sense, like Tanaka, who's going to, flip out when he gets a sweet spike and wave his shirt around, and just
that was amazing,
making like a
war
cry. Yeah, that was amazing. That was incredible. But Suga's little bit where he's like, I'm just being honest. He basically was cushioning his advice with basically acknowledging his vulnerable, thought process about how he's like, you're better than me, and you being better than me should be able to utilize Hinata's skills to their fullest effect. So do that.
Right.
And Kageyama really went through some good character growth this episode.
He did.
It's more of the beginning of good character growth.
Right.
Because he kind of shifted his focus a little bit.
Yes.
It wasn't that he grew immediately in this one episode, even though he did.
Yeah, it's right, because there's character development where the person like digs their roots down deeper into who they are,
Right.
And then there's character development where they realize they need to shift.
Right, so this was a big shift for Kageyama.
Yes. Yeah.
And we will get to see the fruits of that over the next few episodes, obviously, once they start to get more and more in sync with each other.
Yeah.
And I like that. You brought that up earlier. I like that they didn't get in sync immediately.
Right.
There were a couple of great moments, and yes, they did seem a little bit like kind of lucky, kind of stuff happening, but we know this is just the beginning.
Exactly.
That this is where
it's
their
that
starting
little taste
point
of
is.
what's to come.
Right.
Yeah.
And the idea that they have their goal, get to nationals, and Daichi went all Commander Irwin and stood abreast on the trees and was like, we will get there! And the crows, went out amongst the trees. And I like that kind of stuff. But I want to see all the other players own it together in that they, as a group, are going to take it to nationals. Because when Kageyama was flashing back to his... we got to talk about that. To that whole part... Him saying, I am going to nationals, you caught it as well, is a great distinction that there is no I am going to nationals. You bring the team or you bring no one.
Yep.
So they bringing that up will be cool when they all start to identify with Daichi's goals.
And I love that they had the flashback not be something of like, oh, why am I thinking of this now? But like...
No, it was integrally tied to what was actually happening.
It was integrally tied to what was happening, but they also introduced at the very beginning of the episode to sort of set the tone for the episode with a dream, which means that Kageyama is constantly thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't escape it.
Which was a really nice touch to sort of like show some of the internal conflicts that are in Kageyama around this without like actually literally showing him like beating himself up about it.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to make a distinction with, is that he's internalizing it.
Yeah.
He's trying to forget it. He's not actively
He's not trying to
himself
learn
up
from
about it. Well, no, of course he's not trying to learn from it at that point. Maybe he will in the future now.
Right.
But he wasn't the kind of person that was like, so stupid, like, I hate myself because I did this mistake.
Do better next time.
Do better next time. It's more of a thing of, that didn't happen.
Right.
That didn't happen. That was
forget
junior
about
high.
it.
Let's forget about it and
this
move
is a
on.
new slate.
And the thing is, that's not a bad kind of outlook
Right.
on it. But
to an extent, you need that.
Yes, but what he's not doing is he's not reconciling the fact that he needs to take ownership that it was his choices that made that happen.
Right.
So if he doesn't break the cycle, he'll do that again in high school.
Right. Yep.
And that was what Suga brought up.
Yes.
Which was really good.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just good character growth for any human being.
And I loved that Suga brought it up, even though Kageyama wasn't doing the exact same thing. He was actually learning at that point.
He was doing a little bit better.
He was doing a bit better, but he was the fundamentals were still the same.
Yes. Yes. It was maybe also a thing of Suga projecting into the future what this little bit of action here would become, so he decided, I'm going to try and stop the pattern before it becomes something bigger.
Yeah, okay.
And that's a thing that I've definitely noticed is a thing in sports in general. If you let the little patterns go, they become big patterns.
Right.
One of the things that I often did in Ultimate Frisbee that was a sign of just not being a good player was I would always look to advance the throw ahead of me, and I would never what's called dump it. I would never or swing. Swinging is when you throw it directly to the left or the right, and dumping is basically just sending it directly backwards because you're in a bad position. And I wouldn't do that. And that is an egotistical move by a Frisbee player, an Ultimate Frisbee player. If you're not willing to dump or swing it, you're basically saying, I don't trust my teammates in order to make a goal happen at this point. So until I was willing to do that, I had bad habits. But once I stopped doing that, because someone like Suga basically stepped up and said, you need to stop this pattern now, otherwise you won't be a great Ultimate Frisbee player. And that just changed the entire way I played the game moving forward. So,
cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. What's looking like? I think this episode, not ending the episode entirely, kind of left us for a bit of a loop as to what the next episode will kind of focus on.
Right. Are they going to just say, like, oh, yeah, we weren't able to end the game or win the game?
It's going to be the results of things like the bet.
Yeah.
And maybe the decision of how they're going to be integrated into the club.
Exactly.
Because they're going to be integrated. It's just the question of, we don't know. Will Kageyama be a setter?
Plot twist. They don't get in, and they go somewhere completely different for the rest of the show.
Join a new school. That would be kind of interesting, but it's not happening.
No, I know.
So the question is, do you think Kageyama will be a setter?
Yes, but he might not be right away.
Yeah.
So I could see a few things happening. I could see them basically losing, and Daichi being like, okay, I'm only half like doing what I said I would do,
right?
Because
maybe.
you are learning, you're growing and stuff.
I think what it'll be is, as long as Hinata is on the field, you can be a setter.
Sure.
That would be really fun too. Is the idea that he's basically saying you guys need to practice together so that if Hinata is good enough to be considered, a spiker,
right,
then we'll let you be the setter.
Sure,
it's
because they sharpen each other.
Well, right, they sharpen each other, but also Hinata is not an obvious first string player for the spiker position.
No,
because he is a first year for one.
He's short.
He's also very short. Yeah. He's also very inexperienced with how the game works as a whole. So there might be some like technical fouls and things and rules and general like strategies as a whole that Hinata just doesn't know about.
And that will be great, because that will be, if you think about it, that's almost like the perfect perspective for the main character going into any kind of sports
because they represent us.
They represent us because they have the energy, they want to be there, they have the desire, right?
Which translates over to us having
translates over to us, but then they don't know all the little technical stuff. So
like we don't know all the technical stuff.
They can learn it as we learn it.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is good for really any type of story. So take note, any kind of writers or people out there. You don't have to have your main character be an idiot.
Right.
But have them, if they're opening up into this, new world, let them experience it from the point of view of the audience.
Right. And make them care.
In a way that makes them care. Yes. That's all good stuff.
Yeah.
I would say the last little bit is really that flashback. Like, the amount of weight you have put on yourself when you go to a national game level and you don't really have the right patterns going into it, you can't just switch up your game plan and do something else.
Right, because you've been practicing for who knows how long.
Right.
Your ways are set
so Kageyama's moment there where they all decided not to receive his toss, which I totally called. That was that was so good. I'm so glad they did it that way, because that hurts.
Yes.
One of the things that I've seen happen to people on the Frisbee field was people that had someone who was very much it was a handler. A handler is someone who's basically holding onto the disc a lot and throwing, and they wouldn't really let that person throw it beyond more than like 10-15 feet. And the thing is, this person is pretty good, but one of the issues was that they kind of choked a bit and got too like excited and hyped into the game and stuff. So by basically giving them this position, they weren't really given the opportunity to fully play to the extent of their abilities.
Oh, okay.
And oftentimes when they would communicate to their teammates to like make deep moves and stuff like that to go for a score, they just wouldn't do it, and they'd look for kind of the obvious thing of them passing it off. And I don't think this translates perfectly well to what Kageyama was experiencing, but it's the idea that your teammates basically like they don't fully trust you.
Sure.
And that's different than what this was.
Yeah.
But I understand a little bit of things from Kageyama's perspective, because he was the one that brought this upon himself.
Absolutely.
But in the moment, that kind of betrayal...
Oh, yeah. It is a betrayal.
It's a betrayal. Like, he called it a rejection. It's worse than a rejection. It's a betrayal. He betrayed his team, yes. He was the one that instigated this whole thing. But in the moment, he can't see that.
Yeah,
He's blinded by the pain and the And the rejection, essentially, of
And-
what happened.
To make it even worse, he's playing for nationals. There's
Yep.
a whole lot of people watching.
There's a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of weight on his shoulders. And he's also egocentric, so he thinks the whole game basically hinges on his ability to
Right.
drag his team through nationals.
Exactly.
So
And then
I'm
he just got
surprised he
humiliated.
didn't just quit volleyball. Like, he really wants to play the sport.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where Hinata and him can really
Yes.
see eye to eye.
Yes.
And they brought that up this episode. They both wanted to be on the court as long as possible.
Right.
I
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
That's good. I like playing with those people on the field when it's like, these are the people that won't leave. They stay till the end.
Yep.
They want to practice longer than anyone else. They
Right.
want to play scrimmage games after the real game.
Sure.
They play until they literally just drop because they have they don't have an ounce of strength left. That's just fun. Like, you stick around those people and you're going to have a good time. All right, anything else to add to this episode?
No.
All right,
It was
guys.
great.
Well, this was super fun. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
want to see the next episode of Haikyuu, go check out the link in the description below. We've got our early access Patreon there, and you can get the first episode right now. Also, you can chat with us in the Discord, of course, for anime stuff and just
Exactly.
chat about whatever in general.
Can't miss that.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you later. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb,
I'm Jacob.
and we'll see you all next time.